We
Just
good?
was a while ago this time. Because
You're good.
All right, I'd like to call to order this special meeting of the Board of Finance of Tuesday, November 18th. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We've moved this meeting to Tuesday so we can all be present for the last meeting of this current board until the new people come, so that was the reason we moved it. We'll go to public comment, seeing it's only us in the room, I'm assuming there's none. Communications correspondence.
Yep, we received emails from Andy Correa on October 15th, 17th, 19th, and later on the 19th as well.
Okay. Approval of meeting minutes.
I move that we approve the October 8th regular meeting minutes and the November 12th special meeting minutes. I'll second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Mary, thank you for doing all this for such a long time now.
Sure.
Appreciate it.
Had a
Very
great helper to get me through most of it. Couldn't have done it without Diane.
It gets overlooked, but it's, thank you for doing it.
Sure.
Appreciate it. All right, Steve, your call, your ball.
Great, thank you. So first thing is, this week, for the first time after 3 tries, we won a connectivity grant for $659,000, which will give us the streetscape from the 4 corners up to Newberry Village on the west side of the road. This will coordinate with, remember we talked about the RAISE grant that Westcott got for $5 million, and we'll have to put a certain portion in, about 10% of it has to be paid for by the local towns, and that will design from that point north and from the 4 corners, it's Still River Greenway south. Now that's a longer term design because they're going from the Long Island Sound all the way up to the Mass border, I believe. They're going way up. So they're going to do a complete design. Now, towns and cities will have to build that over time. There are 11 towns who are affected by that. Each of them is going to have to put up a certain portion of the grant. But for us, putting that, it's going to be about $80,000 as it's finally been decided, is a lot less than if we paid for the design and the work ourselves. So that's a win. And I'm going to be putting that in next year's budget. We are working already. Marcia's finishing up the quarterly meetings with each of our departments on their budgets. There's nothing there that is outstanding, that is jumping out at us. People are doing a good job on that. We have asked each of the departments to have their capital projects for next year in by this Friday, correct? And then we're going to start vetting them, going through them. If it's okay with you, Brian, we're just going to keep you up to date, let you know what we're doing, send you those so you have them, right? And that's good. We did settle, I think I may have told you this last time, we settled the Public Works Union contract, right? It's right in ballpark with where we thought we were going to end up. It's a little higher, but that's to be expected with inflation and all the things that have been going on. We talked about that previously. We did sign the contracts for the solar, but we signed 3 separate contracts. One for Wisconsin, one for Candlewood Lake Elementary, and one for the parking lot. We did that on purpose in case one of those projects goes south on us. The one most at risk right now is the Wisconsin Middle School, because we'd have to pretty much redo the entire roof. The Board of Ed is looking at that to see if they can move things around in that 10-year budget they had designed to make it more palatable to the town. We would like to do that work if we could next summer. There is a rule now, they have not defined it, that you have to spend at least 5% of the project's cost before July 1st of next year. I think we can hit that. If the Wisconsin project, for some reason, we just can't get it done, they're also out to bid for AC units to redo them at Wisconsin. They're also gonna go on the roof. We're gonna have them do the engineering for both at the same time, right? If you've got an engineer looking at the structure to see if it can support AC, makes sense to have them look, can it support solar too, right? So that's still early days. CLES is gonna be.
Is there a cost analysis done on that, like moving it in 5 years? It's like buying tires for your car 5 years ahead of the tires being bad. So is there a cost analysis of bringing this in 5 years? along with the payout we're gonna get. I mean, have you looked at any of this?
I'm not sure I know what you mean, bringing
We're
it in.
replacing the roof 5
Yes.
years before plant. So in other words, I would not replace my roof 5 years before planting
Yeah.
a roof. I would be like, 5 years out, I gotta do a roof. I've talked to Brian on this, and he's of the same opinion. What is the cost analysis of bringing this in and spending that money now, than we could
Right.
have spent it 5 years later and still had a good roof? It's like painting your house after you paint your house.
Yeah.
You don't paint it after a year. Are you gonna lose
With-
value? What's the cost analysis?
We can look at that more closely. The Wisconsin project would save about $38,000 a year, right? So that would pay for a lot of roofing, but that's a good point. We'll look at it and see what it is. I thought it was over the next 3 years. We've already approved 2 of the sections, about 800 and some odd thousand, right? And it's the other ones that we would have to do for a total of about 1.3, I think. I'm doing this from memory.
Well, and we're gonna have to get into it, because what the Board of Ed brought forward, and I've given a very high-level view of it, is the cost to replace the roofs is, that they're looking at now, is like 60% higher than what was in the original 10-year plan. Now, I don't know if that's because it's gonna cost a lot more to make the roof support solar, or for something different, I don't know why. But if it's,
No,
there's gonna have to be a lot more
that
analysis.
those numbers don't have anything to do with solar, because we
I
haven't
don't
gotten
know,
to that.
so we'll have
point.
to see why it went
Yeah.
up that much.
And then-
No, they don't, I agree, but there's still an extra cost involved, so
Yeah.
now if we're doing
And
the
you're
whole
moving it
roof,
up
yeah.
5 years early.
yeah.
Yeah, and
Well,
a
you
piece
know
of
what?
the roof might be moved up, but that
Got it.
process absolutely has to be done. We'll
Okay.
do, that, by the time it gets into the capital committee, we'll be looking at that. So
All right,
by the
yeah.
time it comes to us.
You know, we do a discounted cash flow analysis, see what the cost would be, what the net
Exactly.
present value is of that future cash flow, and we'll know.
Right.
All right, it's gonna cost us more now, and our break even is year 7.
Right,
We'll
that I'd
know.
like to see, it could be year 2. I'm
Could
not
be year
saying,
2.
I'm not saying it's not gonna
No,
be year
no,
2.
no, we'll do that
I just
analysis.
don't, I would like to know, I don't need to know,
Yeah.
I would like to know.
So we negotiated pretty hard with Verigy. On the Wisconsin project, I have the right and the authority to simply pull the project if it doesn't make sense to us. Because of the roof, because of the AC, because of all the things that are there. CLAS is a no-brainer. It was built for that. And it doesn't look like the student parking lot right now will be any difficulty at all to do, right? And they don't dig up the whole parking lot. As we get there, we'll get further along. What's next? On the Candlewood Lake Elementary School, the Municipal Building Committee is now negotiating, ONG asked for mediation on about $1.2 million worth of expenses that they want to be paid for, and NBC is contesting. They are now in mediation right now. They're going back and forth through the town, through their attorney. We are pushing them hard to get this completed. The legal fees are climbing rapidly, right? And I've said to the NBC, you guys, you got a budget. You got to stay within that budget. You have to stay within that budget.
Did those items that were on the punch list get addressed? I mean, I know a bunch of you did the tour of the building, I couldn't.
I'm a little hard of hearing.
Are the punch list items, did those get addressed and fixed? Like there was the window sills and there was.
Then one of two things will happen. Either the subcontractor, if they agree that it needs to be fixed, like the front yard, right?
Yeah.
For lack of a better
Yeah.
description, that is not topsoil. They either will fix it, or we keep the money and we hire someone else to do it.
Okay, so that's
Right.
part of this
So
process.
that's what they'll do with every single project. The subcontractor either agrees to come back and fix it, or we say, okay, we're done, we're keeping the retainage, or we're keeping this amount to have the work done ourselves, right?
When I was talking with Paul at that tour, he was saying
Yeah.
the total issue was probably over 2 million, so if they're contesting 1.2, that implies that some of it's gotten resolved, one,
Yeah.
I don't know anymore than
How far are we up against the fence on the budget? Is there still room that we're breathing?
Right now, they, as of 2 weeks ago, they had $400,000 free in the budget.
Okay.
But remember, we still have to do Wisconsin fields for
Yeah.
baseball, and they got a bid for 400,000. Interestingly, I told Paul, we're not just accepting that bid, we got to go out to bid, because they pulled it back from ONG. The Wisconsin project they pulled out of ONG. It's now a town project, and for $400,000, we got to get
Okay.
bids, and that's where we stand.
Okay.
Hopefully, they will end up within budget. Hopefully,
Okay.
all right?
Do we have a CO yet for CLES?
No, we don't. The fire sprinklers is fixed, that's good. There is now a fight between the NBC and our building official. There are two
It's not a
steps.
fight, it's a discussion.
What?
It's a discussion,
It's a discussion.
not a fight.
No, I'd say it's a fight.
Really?
There are two steps that, like old style steps, have rough finishes, much like you see on cemetery stones, right? That it's rough on some, not smooth. The building official is saying you cannot do that. People will trip on it because it sticks out, right? From the step, front of the step. The NBC is very adamant that they think it's an aesthetic thing and it should stay. The NBC went to the state to get an exception to it. The state gave them that exception with the proviso that this was a pre-existing condition. It's not a pre-existing condition. The building official went back to the state and said, no, this is not a pre-existing condition. This has not been approved yet as part of the project. So they're still going back and forth. We will achieve, we will have a CO before the solar is ready to go on. We have to have the CO. And it's only, right now, from what I can see, it's the 1-2 steps that are stopping the CO from actually being issued. The fire marshal is fine with the fire suppression system there, that's good.
Okay.
Are we at any risk not having a CO in a building where we have hundreds of students?
Well, we have a temporary CO. It's safe. We have a temporary CO. Our building official and fire marshal would not issue COs unless we were absolutely sure the building was safe. They just wouldn't do it. Neither of them. It's not worth their reputation, it's too much risk. So I'm comfortable that they know what they're doing, and they just want to get this completed. They want to sign off on it and move on.
So from a layman's point of term, listening to this, what liability do we have if someone does trip on that step that's been highlighted?
We could be sued.
So there is a liability out
Yes.
there.
There
So this is what I think
absolutely- there
Brian's saying.
absolutely
We have someone trip, fall, break their neck, we're
Yep.
But this is a stair that's, a step that's inside the building.
Inside the building, yeah,
Yeah,
that
so
means,
repairing it's kind of.
on the left side when you walk in,
No,
there's the
it's
two
not.
steps that are kind of wide and then they go up.
An hour with an angle grinder or whatever, grinder, and that thing
Right.
is smooth.
Are you volunteering?
Right? Give me a power tool and I'm heading over, yeah.
Right,
I don't know,
No.
this would not
This
take
is-
long to fix, we just said, forget it,
This
just.
is literally you get the big Hilti saw with the diamond blade, it could take 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, I know we digress into the
Yep.
details.
No.
But we'll get there, we'll get there.
We're taking not only is someone getting injured risk or financial risk on
Aesthetic.
an aesthetic thing. And it's not, look, it's a beautiful building, those two steps are, no one's even gonna notice, except for the people that happen to know that what it used to look like. It's,
I think you're preaching to the choir, we'll go on.
I don't know, we've waited a long time, and nothing's happened.
That I
On
agree.
the cell tower, I don't know if people know, this Saturday, they floated a balloon. I went over there, Bob went over there, I talked to the police officer who was there I was there about 11 o'clock, 11:30. He said about 40 people had come by to look at it. He was on Hidden Brook. You can also drive down through Lake Lonona Shores and see it from there. It was a 4-foot balloon, 175 feet in the air. We took pictures, we're gonna post them for people. It wasn't as obtrusive as I thought it was gonna be, but it was a 4-foot balloon, 175 feet in the air. The actual structure is gonna be something like 6 foot by 6 foot by, it's really hard to tell.
Are we locked into this now, or do we have?
On the
an out?
cell tower?
Yeah. or
We don't
have
have a
an out?
choice.
We're done. There's no more negotiating.
No, we
Because
are not
it's-
involved in this, this is a private
I
transaction.
understand that, but if you take it, listening to everything that's going on, and hear me out.
Yeah,
Right now, we're gonna put a cell tower in the neighborhood, which is gonna reduce property value, which is gonna reduce the taxes. If we've done an analysis on the tax revenue we're gonna lose versus the operating revenue we're gonna lose versus putting in a $300,000 road,
we'll find
because
out.
all of a sudden, if you give away $1,000 per house in taxes, and you do that times 200 homes, you're giving away a lot of tax revenue. And
Yeah,
is this a way we can renegotiate, or we can go back to them and say, hey, we've thought about this, and because I think our payout would be a year or two, even on a $300,000 road, if you're not reducing values of properties, you're not paying, instead of paying for a service, we're getting revenue from a service. So if you put the left and the right up there,
It's a $92,000 swing just for the town from going on Hidden Brook versus by the high
correct, and the road was $300,000, and I get it wasn't a good deal, but now when you throw in the loss of tax revenue on how many properties over there, are we gonna lose out a lot, or
Well,
town-wise, forget the residence-wise,
I
town-wise.
I think the answer to that is no, because our reval starts in January, right?
Mhm.
That cell tower will not be completed for 18 to 24 months at a minimum.
Yeah,
Those houses are gonna be valued where they're gonna be valued. Now, people can apply to the Board of Assessment Appeals and say,
Yeah.
the value of my house went down. So we have to, would look and see what that value went down versus the taxes we get from the cell tower, right?
agreed, but you even acknowledged in one of your meetings that that would maybe happen, that the property values would go down.
Personally, I do not know this for a fact. Would I buy a house next to the cell tower? No, you'd have to give me a discount, right?
That's what
I don't know how much, but
So I'm just saying that we looked at that, and is this so far gone, we can't change it? Because again, I started to do quick napkin math, and we get to that 300,000 pretty fast to put it in the town
We could.
property.
we could. But we had a town meeting about putting it behind the high school, and if you remember, 200 people showed up.
Yep, I get it.
Right,
Adamant.
but I, as
They do
Brian,
not want it there.
as Brian said 2 meetings ago, there is a lot more people that are upset that it's on private property now than there were when that went down and 200 people showed up.
I'm not seeing that. The number
You
of
really,
people,
because I
the number of
live,
people who have come to
Okay.
me and complained is much less than for the cell tower behind the high school. Just the number of emails I get and calls, it's much less. I don't know why, but it's much lower. Now, we have vested interests there, and I agree with you. And to be clear, you live right next door.
yeah,
It's gonna affect you the most,
yep.
in my opinion, right? We'll look at it
But I
again.
also had a lot of angry people driving by my driveway, and when I was out doing something, there were people that lived on Riverford that were ripping me a new one, ripping the town a new one in my ear, because they pay a lot of money in taxes, $36,000 a year,
Yeah.
and that's gonna be effective, and they've lived here for 20+ years. They were unaware of all the goings on, right, it's always hindsight 20/20, right, now all of a sudden it's a problem because, you know, it's going in places that it shouldn't be. But as Brian pointed out when I couldn't form complete sentences 2 meetings ago, and he used the other half of my brain, I think people are looking at it a little differently now that it's going on a private property. And it you made a statement like 20 minutes ago that you work for the people of the town and that's what you do. So if you've got
Right.
people that are thinking, hey, you know, maybe we should revisit this and try it a different angle, it could still get shot down, but what's the worst that's gonna happen? Trying to go back to Homeland.
We can revisit it. I have no
I know.
problem with revisiting it.
I think it's sort of like, things change when systems, just like when they tried to put the library on the town property, 500 soccer people came out and changed that whole view
1,200.
of,
1,200.
all right, but I'm just saying, I
600
think
times 2.
when the dynamics change, we gotta look at it a little bit more fluidly.
Yes, and no one believed when we said, and I said
Correct.
this
Yep.
dozens of times.
Agreed.
No, we
If
all
we
agree.
don't put it
Agreed.
there, they're
But
gonna
that-
find
but
it.
now that's a reality.
It was
Yeah.
inevitable.
Yeah.
However, in fairness, the other way, I also watched meetings where Derek Carr said they're bluffing. And nobody really stood up and said it was a true bluff and blah, blah, blah. So I watch your meetings.
Oh,
So
no, no,
you
no, no.
stood up a few times, but it also, a couple meetings, it sort of just went aside. And I'm saying, I think now it's a reality. So now you have 200 people that were mad that it was gonna go on the town property,
Yeah.
which I understand and get that. But now you have 200 people, and then when we go to the budget now and say, our
This is
budget's
work.
going up 100 grand because we gotta pay for services instead of get services, and we gotta cut this out of a program because we weren't
Mhm.
fluid enough to make a change to get revenue instead of cost. I think there's a lot of different variables that have come into
Well,
play.
but remember, the offer that Homeland made was abysmal. It was absurd.
Yes,
Right?
absolutely. It was great at first, we didn't take it.
Great first.
The first offer was good, the
But
second offer was decent,
We
the
would
third
have to
offer
go
was
to a
okay.
town meeting to approve the use of town property.
Yes,
There's no doubt in my mind that would have been 80-20 no.
But what we're all saying
Because the
is
yes people
the
weren't showing up.
the
Yeah.
variables have now changed.
Yes, and we'll look at it again.
Okay.
We'll
Are
absolutely
there-
look at
are
it
there
again.
other
I
companies?
personally prefer the site behind the high school. I hope my wife is not watching this. Right?
She'll
It is
still
at
love you in the
least
morning.
800 feet from any
It
house.
should go on town property.
It could go on
should
town
not-
property. But to
be
go on
going
town property, you have to have a town meeting.
I understand that, I just don't think it should be going on
But
private.
are there other companies too? Like, is Homeland the
Yeah,
only
there
player
are.
in this game,
There
or
are.
are there
Right.
other?
I thought you had mentioned that.
Can we do
another-
a poll? Is that something that a town can do? Like, we have a system now where we send out a survey and say,
Yeah.
this is happening, are you a yes or a no? And maybe that would give you a inkling as to,
Yeah,
there's so many
we-
mad people.
So let's be clear, we are getting a cell tower, one way or the other.
We agree.
We
We
all
agree
Steve,
with
Steve,
that.
we're
So I
getting
will
it.
talk
And
to
dynamics
this
have
other
changed.
company, that came in, right, and wanted to put it back. I have no problem going to a town meeting, right, for town property. We'll look at it. I'll talk to Bob, see if he agrees, right, and see if we can't find to put it back where we originally wanted to put it.
And
You know,
Carl,
1,500 feet from the high school, 800 feet from any other property. It
I'm not
would
s-
be in the woods, it would be where people consider it open space, but it's not technically, right? I understand that, but there are always trade-offs here. I think that's a better trade-off than putting it on the.
on a
other.
private property.
There's
Personal.
trade-offs 100%. I'm looking at just strictly numbers. I'm looking at
Right.
strictly numbers
The
and
numbers.
payback.
I
Forget,
agree.
forget the
And
emotions.
the people impacted.
I agree
The
with
whole
the people
neighborhood is
impacted.
impacted.
But I don't know if that's our purview. My purview is the
That's not-
numbers and how they work, right? And how does this work? Instead of spending $100,000 a year, right? That's $100,000, and I always look at
Yeah.
$100,000 buys us things that we can't
Right.
get to.
That's
We're fighting,
Correct.
like we're looking at this, the Board of Ed budget, and we say, oh, we
Yeah.
can't do this because we don't have $100,000, we want to keep it here. That $100,000 instead of spending, and then when you start to work payouts, like reduced property taxes, that's a revenue impact.
Yeah.
And those are big houses in that
Right.
area,
Yeah.
right? So I mean.
And I personally.
And I agree, the personal effect is also
Correct.
100%, but I don't know if we can
No.
put that into our play. That's
But I
all.
didn't know that the way it impacted revenue and expense until it got laid out in front of me. So I just say, maybe all those people that were unaware
Oh,
are now.
I'm sorry, we put it out there
No, no, no,
numerous
no, no,
times.
no.
But it's never a reality until it's a reality,
Correct.
Steve.
People didn't want to hear it. That's
It's
different
never a
than
reality till you
having
get the
it
bill.
Put out there.
And
That's
now,
right.
now it's in a lot more people's backyards, so it's
Right.
another group of people.
Well, there's condos, there's, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
I'm just saying we should look at it again. I
Yeah,
think
I
we
have
owe
no
it
problem. We'll
to
look
the
at it again.
numbers, we owe it to the people, but
Yeah,
also
we'll look at
the
it
math
again.
might, when you really start impacting revenue, that's over life. That's a lot of money.
After
Could
40
be-
years, that's $4 million.
Right, so it's 300,000, I get the deal was bad. Don't ever think I don't understand the deal was bad. But is it a better deal than what we're getting now? The bad deal that's offered, is it a better deal?
But if you can bring another player in, maybe they can compete and give us something better than
Okay.
what was
We'll
offered.
look at it
All
again.
right, go ahead, cell phone
Always keep
tower.
an open mind. Gas compressor, we are joining that lawsuit. We are ancillary to the lawsuit. The lawsuit's being forwarded by Save Our Sound. My personal opinion is that if Deep follows to their normal, what they've been doing for the last 2 years, they're just gonna say, go away. So instead of going back to the Deep and appealing their appeals and objecting to their objection, to our objection, to their objection, believe it or not, that's where it got to, right? Suit has been filed in Superior Court. I think Superior Court is gonna make a very quick decision, personally. Yes, you have to have an adjudicatory hearing, or not. Even if they say, yes, you're gonna have an adjudicatory hearing, Deep will do it and say, okay, we'll give them the Iroquois what they want. But there are enough people in Brookfield to be affected. It's 1,500 feet from our school, 1,800 feet, I'm sorry. The town deserves to listen to the residents, right? And if the expense of it, as you raised before, gets too much, we'd say, hey, guys, we gotta step out. We have to step out.
When you say that though, do you have a number in mind? Because again, all the research I've done, Iroquois has fought towns with millions of dollars. They have
And
millions behind them, and they
Yeah.
will run us into the ground.
And they
Is there a
sometimes have
cutoff
lost.
point? Is there a 15,000, or do we spend 15, now it's okay, we're gonna spend another 30, and maybe another 7, and then maybe another 12, and before I know it, we're over 100K,
Yeah.
and now you're saying we're 100K into this,
No.
are we gonna
No,
go
no,
farther?
No,
Uh,
no, 100K, no. I've talked to Tom Beecher about this. I said, Tom, I want to keep our costs reasonable on this. I will get a firmer number from him, what he thinks our participation costs would be, right? We're not filing the paperwork, we're just a party to it, so he's looking at it, reviewing it, and saying, yeah, okay, good, the town's with us. We're not the ones creating the lawsuit,
Okay.
right? Okay, and we look at that.
Perfect.
That's a gas compressor.
All right.
On a good note, We finally settled the last assessment appeal from the last revow,
Yes, we can start over
5 years late. But here's the good news. It was Raymore and Flanagan.
Yeah, so-
Oh, yeah.
Our tax assessor said it was worth $32 million.
Yep.
No, 37 million,
Mhm.
sorry. Raymore and Flanagan said it was worth 32 million. The judge sided with the town and said it was worth 47 million.
Oh, good for us.
So our numbers, our assessor was, our people are
Perfect.
doing a great job.
Perfect.
And I am guessing that next year in the revow, we will be assessing it at 47 million.
It's been done.
But it's completely done. And this, all the big ones, Costco, BJ's, Raymore and Flanagan, they have cadres of lawyers that do nothing but fight their assessments.
It's ready to spin the other way, because
But-
the last assessment, 2 assessments, the buildings went up, the houses went down.
Right.
This last assessment, the buildings went down, the houses went up.
Yeah.
So the cycle should go back.
Yeah, the cycle, it does, over time, if you watch it, it does.
I do.
I looked at the last 30 years, commercial property, non-residential property, has consistently been between 19 and 20.5% of our total taxes. It hasn't changed a lot. You know, New Milford passed that Homestead Act,
Yeah.
which is where, okay, we're gonna give residents, people who own houses, a break on their taxes. That money's gotta come from somewhere.
Yes, it does.
And you know where it's gonna come? Commercial.
Mhm.
Commercial will fight that tooth and nail.
Yes.
And even the lawyer for the state, when they were passing this legislation for the committee, said, you're gonna get a lot of lawsuits on this, and I don't know if they won't win.
That's the thing.
Um,
They have more than we have.
Yeah.
To fight us.
Yeah, so we're watching that Homestead Act. New Milford passed it. They haven't said what they're going to do yet, and it's pretty open. So we'll see. But I think if we did that, I said, let somebody else be the guinea pig on this one, right? I don't want to spend $50,000 in legal fees fighting Raymore and Flanagan and then lose. Let's let New Milford do it and see what happens.
New Milford really doesn't have the store size of Costco, BJ's, and.
Yeah, but they have
Yeah,
that
but
whole
They have,
strip.
they
Whole
have, it,
strip
but they
of
don't
Route
have those
7.
big ones. Yeah, but they're not, they got a
They
little,
don't
they got
have a
Walmart.
Costco, but remember,
Walmart.
Costco and BJ's are not valued that great because it's a big empty box.
I get it, but they have lawyers,
Yeah.
big lawyers.
Oh, God, yes. Oh, God.
So-
But you know what? O'Reilly's Auto Parts and AutoZone and all those guys at Starbucks,
Mhm.
they also have lawyers in New Milford. So we'll just have to wait
All
and
right,
see.
we'll see. All right, cool.
Um,
Next. Good
We
news.
will, last thing I just want to bring, the state has Volt EV chargers that we can hook up for electric vehicles, and they're willing to give them to the town for free. And we believe install them for free.
And then make money on them.
I like the way you think. I don't know all the details, it's fresh for me. Greg Dombrowski is working through the state, but it seems like they have a number of these. I guess they made their qualifications previously too tight or something, and they've opened it up. So if we can get a couple of electric chargers, maybe one here, two here, right? Be a little more,
And that's pay as you use.
Yeah.
The people would pay as they use.
yeah, I think so, yeah. I'm not paying, we're in the town not paying, so I'm not giving you free
I
electricity.
drive to Sonic and New Milford.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
the library
I think
would
you
be a
get
good
a
place for that, because
Maybe
people
the
stay there
library.
for.
Or the town
Right.
can get some money.
Maybe the library.
for-
Yeah, because
for-
then you could go in
Yeah.
and actually
Yeah.
do something.
Aren't there a couple at the
Yeah.
food emporium too?
I'm sorry?
Aren't there a
Yeah.
couple at the food emporium?
Yeah, yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like, it's close to
A
opening.
little cut.
Yeah.
never
I
mind.
understand.
So
there
we,
is.
should, put them
Never
every
got
so
to
often in
that.
town.
So the, on that same subject, close subject, is last Thursday, the Community Center Committee interviewed the 3 finalists for design of a new community center. I was there, Carl Hinger was there, there were about 10 people from the library. Parks and Rec was represented, NBC was represented, 3 great firms. They all struck me as really good. So they're gonna be making the decision on who to hire. I don't know what their time frame is on that yet, they haven't told me. That's it for me.
Can I ask a question for you? So I have a son who's driving now, and so I've become hyper aware of how bad the drivers are on Federal Road. And I don't know where it's a state road, is
Oh,
there
yeah,
any,
yeah, yeah.
is there any way for
Alright.
us to get traffic cameras there? Just, I mean, I know, we're seeing it across the state, but I would think like the toll on emergency services for the number of accidents that happen on Federal Road could be a good argument. I think you've mentioned before how much revenue Federal Road
The town would get
gives to the
very
state.
little revenue. Speeding
Right.
tickets, most of the money goes to,
But I don't care about that, but it would make people aware of how they drive and maybe
Yeah.
reduce the accidents. that
I
happen.
don't know if you noticed, but in the last month, our enhancement and our ability for police officers to sit and monitor cars is growing substantially.
I've been seeing them at 5:30 in the morning when I go to the gym every single day. There are 3 spots. And I'm not awake enough to go fast.
We have more police out doing that. We are also now looking at Plox cameras, which are similar to what you're talking about.
Okay.
I was talking to another town, first selectman, and they had a big problem with the Waterbury, you know, the groups coming in. And from the research they've done, 90% of the time, the car that comes into town is stolen, bringing these kids in. And they have put them at every major entrance to their town. The number of break-ins and car thefts has gone down 90% in that town. Because it picks up a stolen car, immediately notifies the police start looking for that car, right? I'm looking to do that here too. Put them down by Super 7, put them up at the top, put them on 25, right, coming into town. I think that'd be great, because it's a real problem. I don't think that problem's gonna go away right now, right? And they could be used for similar purposes. They do a lot of different things. And I'll talk to the police commission and the chief about putting some on federal. I've seen some crazy people on
Yeah,
federal
but I
road.
mean, just, I mean, if you can reduce the number of traffic incidents, that
Yeah.
will help
And
the police resources.
people
The
running red
new
lights, yeah.
configurations,
Yeah.
right, especially at Chick-fil-A, have helped a
Oh,
lot.
tremendously.
Yeah, we knew that though. Well,
Yeah.
every one of us knew that. That was a nightmare.
Yeah, that was a nightmare.
For a lot, many years, that was
Yeah.
bad.
Oh, yeah.
That was really bad.
I went to the DOT commissioner my first year in office, 2016, and asked him for that left turn signal at Chick-fil-A, and it only took 8 years. Government moves at government pace.
All right.
Okay.
Speaking of government moves, go ahead.
Streetscape 7 is held because of the invasive plant, or not native plant, they give you a response on that.
The
I'm gonna ask every
Japanese,
month
the
until-
Japanese
Did they find
grass
the
or
grass
something.
yet?
You have to ruin my
Got
day.
mold.
Okay.
I know.
We had to get a special permit because the botanist couldn't come out and look to see because he said it was too dry. So we had to get an extension from the state, which they made it a nightmare to do. We just want to leave the little strings up for another 30 days. Oh, come on down from the mount. Okay. We did that, we got that. The botanist came out. The botanist is now going to give us his report. When? We have no idea. But here's the thing, we can't do that construction until next year, and we'll see. And here's what I don't understand, and I've asked the question, I haven't gotten an answer. If the botanist did find this, I forget the name of the plant, sawtooth grass or something, what happens then?
I agree.
Do we plant more sawtooth somewhere else, or do we have to just let it grow wild? I don't know what the answer to that is.
Got it.
God bless America.
Exactly. That's all right. I mean, I get it. I get it. All
But
right.
also the grocery store, I don't know if you've driven by
Yeah.
at
It
night,
looks
I
like
have
it's
a lot of
almost ready.
activity.
there's stuff in there.
Yeah,
We're getting the
excited.
final COs from fire and from building, and they say it's gonna be this month.
Right, time
I
for
don't know.
Thanksgiving.
All right.
There's only 10 days left of
Hopefully
this.
don't have any
Before we
steps.
get off of your report,
I know, before you get ready.
$30,000 police station study that we asked for the quote, that was a month and a
Right.
half ago.
Julian is looking at that, trying to get them to go out to bid. We don't have a final answer on
Oh, yeah.
that. We don't.
I thought we were,
We wanted a quote. We asked for a quote,
We asked for
because
quotes.
we
More
didn't
than
have a
one.
Got it.
number. We just, they,
But they haven't
thir-
gone out to bid yet?
Huh?
Did I hear that right, that they haven't gone out to bid?
I'm sorry, I'm
They
the
sorry.
quotes haven't been sent out.
No, I think what Julian has requested firms to bid on it.
Oh.
Got
Give
it.
us the
Okay.
quotes.
I
We
thought-
just haven't gotten them back.
Got it,
And there's very few companies that specialize in this.
got it.
so that's on hold now until we get that.
Yeah, we want to move more quickly, if we can, because that's our next project.
Yeah. Just
All right. Anyone else have anything for Steve? Hearing that, no. How about Marcia? It's your turn to shine.
All right, revenues. Our interest earnings are right on the projection that, as of yesterday, the stiff rate, that's the goal rate that we're trying to get, with both Newtown and Union, was at 4.03. Newtown is 4.02, it's adjusted daily. Union is 4.21, it's adjusted weekly. Our budget, the projections that are in our October report were based on a 4% interest rate. It didn't go down quite as fast in actual. And it's based on going down 1/4% with every meeting till we get to 3% at the end of the year. Those still seem like good numbers. For who knows what's really gonna happen, but that should bring us in excess revenue again this year. Not as much as prior years, but the state grants are up about 200,000, 100 due to timing differences. The LoCIP grant we're getting this year instead of last year. Some of the FEMA we got last year instead of this year. The net is about 100, and 100,000 for the state's final number for County Road in their final budget. They gave us more. So we're about 200. We had these total up about 400, but we had about 200 of unspecified revenue. So we're up about 200 right now. Expenditures, the known pressure points, we think that we can cover all of them with transfers and not need additional money. Public Works, the union contract, we talked about transferring that from contingency. That's the only one that I think we would need to cover from contingency at this time. One of the big things to talk about is the grounds equipment maintenance. That's struggling. There's a new truck that needed a big thing. The Bobcat is got a lot of issues. So we're up over 12,000 of issues there. She had talked about, when they hit the 5-year mark, they create a lot of problems. So she's just calling our attention to that, and we'll have to transfer money from someplace else into that. The police have not been successful in their part-time dispatcher. They're working through that, and we'll come back at another meeting. I'm not sure that we could cover that with a transfer, but we'll see.
You remember during the budget discussion, we talked full-time, part-time, and they said, okay,
Absolutely.
we'll go out and try to get a part-timer? So far, they've not had anyone.
And they've got the whole schedule lined up to show how that would work. But just so you know that is something that's coming up. The bonded capital streetscape phase 4, as Steve said, we received the funding, so that should move forward. We were running out of time there, but that's back on track. The Parks and Rec upper garage addition, they're working through the different options that will have to come back to the board in next year's budget, just as it was putting in a floor, and it didn't, if I've got the right project, didn't make sense to put in the floor because the wood is rotting on the roof, it's just got dirt in there.
Originally, we were just gonna throw concrete down, but this is a post and beam. The beams are going right into the dirt. So we went through the engineering, and it looks like that's what they originally proposed is not gonna be a long-term solution. So they're reworking it now to see what they can do, what we should do, I said.
The Board of Ed roofing, the Board of Ed and Board of Selectmen are working on the applications for these grants to apply to try and offset some of those costs. So those would be going in shortly, and we'll see. This is our first time doing this.
Have we read through those? Because when I read through it a little bit,
Yeah.
not extensively, I sort of got the opinion we're gonna be in the same boat we were in with the Terra Car grant, that we already allocated money towards it, then we can't receive the grant. There was wording in there that I saw that alluded to that, I thought, in my first glance, that you can't already have expended money on this and then get the grant. So are we getting dangerously close to doing this and expending money, and then they're gonna come back and say, you've already spent some of this money, so this is a grant you can't get? There was one line in there that I read, if I read it properly, and maybe it's out now, when I first read the original grant, and maybe I'm wrong, and I will say I'm wrong, but I saw something in there that really reminded me of, we can won this grant, and then they're gonna say, well, you've already allotted the money, we're not gonna
Right.
give it to you now.
I think you may be right, but it's if you've already started to spend. We'll check.
But are we going for the engineering on something, and is that a
So
spend?
the engineering is not, we had a meeting yesterday. The engineering is not part of the grant for that exact reason. That it would have to be done first, and we can't really wait for that. So when she's calculating in the grant revenues, she's not using the engineering as part of those costs.
I get that, but
Yeah.
is that part of, is the grant board gonna accept that as not spending money? It's still for the project, that's what I'm saying, it's still left pocket, right pocket money. Is the grant board gonna say, okay, that's okay with them? That's all I'm asking.
We'll
So-
double check, but I
That's
don't
all.
think they would be going through all of this.
I
We'll
just, we
just
went through it
double
all,
check.
we went through it all.
So the grant, the radio grant was a federal grant, and
Yeah.
so the
Okay.
federal,
This is
it's a separate set of laws. We did look at this with the state, no, we can't spend it for the project until it's approved, for the construction, and we haven't spent any construction. But they could come back and say anything. I read an article about another town that didn't get it because they were only doing a partial roof, and then how much the newspaper got it right, I don't know. They were only doing a partial roof and not the whole roof, and is that gonna, okay, are we gonna, in order to get this, wanna do the whole roof anyway? So there's a lot.
I'm all for it, 100%, don't take this wrong, I just
Yeah.
don't wanna misstep, that's
Right.
all. I mean, 100%, this makes great sense, there's nothing about it. The thing is, we just gotta make sure that we
Well, we
don't
know.
get caught. And it's only because, you're right, federal, state's different, but we got burned once before on this.
Correct.
I hate to get burned twice.
Correct, and they've
That's all.
got, the engineering firm is also helping with the grant and making sure that we're following the rules on the
Perfect.
grant.
Perfect.
We'll double check.
And on, I think in the last meeting, we approved around 600,000 that we put in, CNR that was not,
Yes.
reserved, right? We had a couple priority items that we wanted to use that for. How do we get, for example, the big one is the air conditioning system in the senior center, right? We, in the budget, we had one of the three zones, and we wanted to maybe get all three so that we can do them all at the same time, right? I think that's the top one that was on the list, there were others on the list. How do we get that moving if we wanna do that?
So we should allocate the money of what is wanted, where we wanna put it. And then it would go to the Board of Selectmen and then to the Board of Finance.
Okay, well, who's the,
Okay.
I would
Who
assume,
initiates
I would assume the capital committee, I would assume you.
I would almost say that would be your circle back on
Yeah.
projects and make sure the money's allotted,
Yeah.
and then come, unless that's too much of a burden you
No,
think for the
no,
committee.
I don't know if that, yeah, I'm just thinking.
But we could dimension the projects and then come to you, right? This is what we want to do, this is how we want to do it, right?
I think almost, and again, not trying to put work, you almost need like a scorecard is what you're saying, Brian. What you've said we do it, and then how do we get to the milestone scorecard? In other words, did we get it approved, what's the
Well-
thing?
Well, let's start with, let's just say 600,000, I know it's
Perfect.
a more precise number, right? I think somebody has to decide, okay, of that 600, how much are we comfortable releasing now? That's not the capital committee to decide
No.
that.
No,
I think-
I think that's the Board of Selectmen and the Board of
A
Finance.
little bit, but we didn't,
No.
We didn't
didn't
decide.
define it like Brian's
Right, so
saying.
it's, we have.
We
the bucket.
globally defined it, but we haven't,
Mhm.
stepped it down to milestones or how we
Right.
wanna do
Yeah,
this.
I think that's the Board of Selectmen and the Board of Finance with the input from the capital committee. There
I
are
don't
things
think we
like,
care who does it as long as it gets done, if you wanna
Yeah.
know, this isn't
Yeah,
like
my
we
point is, I
wanna
think we should
beat,
get started
we're
on
not
that.
beating
Yeah,
our
yeah.
chests on
because
this. I
it
think,
finally is gonna come to this board if we wanna spend
Yeah,
that
no,
money,
I
but
don't
we'll
think-
do that.
I don't think it's a beating chest, like I say, it's just Brian saying, how do we get it
We should
rolling?
get something going.
And-
Start
and
it.
who-
There's no one
who's
that's gonna
the
start it.
initiator
agree.
behind it, it's fully supported from our side, that
Yeah.
it's not a, we wanna drive this, it's a matter of just to
Well,
make
it
sure it
does.
drives.
Yeah,
That's all.
there-
Question
there are a
is,
couple
should we
things.
do it now?
And
Or
how
should-
much of it now, and maybe we
or
wanna
should we
do some
do it
later.
as part
Right.
of this capital process, that we'll have less this year
Correct.
in excess revenue? So do we say, we'll take that 600,000, add it to maybe 200,000?
I think what Brian's saying, we now know you're gonna be first selectman for 2 years, so that the in-between is gone now, the variable's
Yeah.
gone, and now that we've allocated this money, we need to act on this money.
Yeah, and there are a couple projects like the senior center and the Cadigan project where we have air conditioning units. Marshall will talk about it. If you do those in the off-season, you get better pricing.
Right.
If you do it in the heating season right now for heaters, it's expensive. If you do AC in the spring, it's expensive. If you do the whole thing in March, April, there's slow season, you usually get better bids. And that's where I think things like that, if we could save a little bit of money on the
I
senior
don't
center.
think any of us are opposed to that.
Yeah.
And we talked about that Bobcat. The Bobcat's in the 10-year plan to be replaced next year.
Right.
If
Yeah.
if we're still throwing
I'm
bad
so
money at
good
it,
with
maybe
you.
we pull
Buy
it
a
in.
new one, not with you
Right.
already.
Yeah, maybe we shouldn't be waiting any
Already.
longer and
Yeah.
solve something
Yeah,
out
why
and do
put
that.
the money, why put $10,000 in it
If we can get it.
If
we're
we haven't
gonna
put
buy
the
new,
ten
then
thousand
make
into
sure-
it already, I'd say buy a new one. If we haven't spent that money yet,
We've spent that money.
oh, well,
Yeah.
then, I'm not blaming anybody either on that, so don't look at that. But if we hadn't spent it, I would be with Brian, buy a new one now.
Yeah.
I would say before we put more into it, that's an expense, that's a buy new.
So we'll look at that. Anything that comes up, we'll say to all the departments, Parks and Rec and Public Works, hey, if you get a big expense here, stop.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah, I
look at
think
it.
so, anything,
Especially if someone's gonna be replacing it
anything
next
over
year too. We know now. we
near
have a schedule.
$10,000 when the
Right.
equipment's $20,000 to buy
If they know
new.
it's going to be
Yeah,
approved next
25,
year, they.
30.
Yeah, it's whatever it is, I don't know, I'm throwing numbers out, I have no clue, but I mean,
But if
it's
you
still a
put
good chunk of change.
$10,000 and you can buy a new one for 25.
Anything you would do with your own
Seven,
car,
so
I
yeah.
would say we should put into play.
Mhm.
You're not gonna spend 5,000 on a car when your
Yeah.
car's near the end, you're gonna buy a new one. I think that's just
That's
basic
true.
home economics, forget town economics.
Okay.
All right, so that's bonded capital that we were just talking about. Cash capital, the tax collector and assessor counter is costing quite a bit more. So Steve has told them, come back through the capital committee because it's not inflation, it's a different project than what was approved. The Town Beach Community Room air conditioning, that broke unexpectedly. The background is that it's central air conditioning, but it's only central air conditioning in half of the building. That the ductwork was put in all of the building, and apparently years ago, budget cuts only put in,
So value
compressor.
engineering.
A compressor for half of the building, and it,
We don't ever wanna do that again.
No.
yeah.
Okay, thank you.
And
Yeah.
there's no heat in the building. It failed in June, the leak was too big to fix. They put in window air conditioning as a temporary fix. The fire marshal will not let them keep that as a permanent fix. The options, and this, we bring up because we're trying not to do out-of-cycle
Yeah.
items, but this just, there's no choice. We could fix it with, just as we have it, air conditioning in half the building, for $15,839, plus a permit fee, whatever that might be. Or $22,000 to replace and put in air conditioning and heat in the full building. The part that's not heated, the part that doesn't have air conditioning is the lifeguard and concession areas. And this would allow the building to be rented in the spring and fall, and the rough
We
water-
also wouldn't have the, every year, we have to get the building, drain everything out, spend all the money to winterize it, right?
I think when we talk out of cycles, I don't think out of cycles is our problem. Out of cycles are when they're not thought of or planned, but out of cycles that happen because something went
Right.
wrong. I think,
Yeah,
I don't know,
that's
Brian,
not
maybe I'm
out of
speaking
cycle.
for that,
That's
that's
not-
not out of cycle to me. This is
No.
business.
Yeah,
Maybe,
yeah.
the out of cycle is, gee, we decided to do this because now we
We
think
didn't
it's
want
gonna be, but we
Yeah,
didn't think of
brand
it
new.
before.
This is
That's
a-
an out of
Yes.
cycle,
This
when
is
something,
maintaining an asset.
right? I mean,
Yeah,
I don't think it's
exactly.
out of cycle. I think
And-
this is,
Not to mention, you've got rentals that we're in a short window for 27, which would already pay for it, and if they can open it up in the spring and the fall, then technically you'd make more money, and it'd probably pay for itself.
This is just like the Bobcat, you could spend 15, or you could be
But
smart and
that's
spend
not
another
obviously-
7K.
right.
Exactly,
Right, I'm
Exactly.
with you,
Yeah.
100%.
and get your money for it.
Exactly.
I think, not to say anything bad, I think that this board has worked hard, disciplined, that we can handle these things that happen, and these aren't problems, we've worked hard to get us financially set right now, where these are things that happen. And we should be fixing them right, I agree with Brian. We, at this point, as financially well as we've done, we should not have half a building dumped to,
DC, no.
okay?
No.
We shouldn't ever be doing that, the stage we've gotten to. Maybe years ago, when we weren't as financially set, we didn't have a strong financial director, we didn't have a board that worked together. I think now is the time to do things
And we
right.
built in a little flexibility.
And
We
we
have
have the
that.
wherewithal.
We've been disciplined to get us to this point, under Marcia and your guidance, that we can tackle these problems, but we should tackle them the correct way.
Which is,
Which
do the
is
whole
To
building.
do the whole building.
Use the heat pumps, the efficient
I don't
heat pumps,
know,
do
Eileen.
No,
both
I agree.
heat and cold.
Yeah.
Mary,
Do it right.
me, Brian,
Yeah, though, again, this process, so is this again something that the Board of Selectmen has to approve and then comes to us?
Yeah, when
Yeah.
it comes
So
to the board
that's
of
the
selectmen.
process, but yeah, I think,
Yeah.
I
But we'll
absolutely
raise the board
support.
of
Yeah, just
selectmen
start
at our
the
next
process.
meeting.
but we're in that position.
Yeah.
We don't have to value engineer.
No.
No.
That doesn't mean throw money away, I don't
No,
want you
no,
to
no,
ever
no,
think
no.
that either, but I
But
mean,
smart engineer. So,
all I'm saying is, we've
Yeah.
gotten disciplined to this point. It took us 8 years to get here, but
Yep.
we got here.
Yep.
And now we can handle these things in a smarter way, you're
This
right.
is $6,000, if it was 60,000, we'd be.
And we-
But you still gotta handle it right.
Yeah,
Even if it's
my point is-
60,000, bro, we
then-
handle it
then-
right.
Then value engineering, or, you know, there'd be
Right.
other things you'd look at.
Yeah,
It's
I
not- this is
agree,
like a kind of
but
a-
the value engineer would be right,
Yeah.
still, would be an answer.
Absolutely.
It's not a Band-Aid. This is more of a don't do Band-Aids. How's that? All right,
if we can possibly avoid it, we don't.
so, okay.
Right.
So whatever we gotta
Same
do.
thing with the Parks and Rec building up by the high school. We could slapdash something together for what their original budget is, but that's not, I don't think, the right thing to do.
I think, and I've said it 100 times, we should be proactive now instead of reactive.
Agreed.
And we're in a position to be proactive. And it might mean some things have to suffer a little along the way, but we gotta be proactive in what we do. So, all right, Marcia, go ahead, please.
Audit update, that it's just waiting for me to finish it. I've usually do it on the weekends. I hope to do it over Thanksgiving weekend. That I have GASB 101 that I have to, which is the rule number, not like a beginner's course. That on sick time, we now have to accrue sick time for people that won't get it. The old rule before this was you only accrued it for people that would get it in cash. Now it's for people that might take it. I looked at an average, and on average, people are not going into their sick time banks and reducing them. And the auditors are saying, well, they want us to look at the people that are and accrue that. And we've never done that before, and not an average, and just take all the negatives, but I'm not gonna fight them on it, and I did ask if they've changed their mind on that. The notes in the management discussion I also have to do. I sent them an email today to say, you know, if I get it done for over that weekend and give it to them in December, would they still be able to get it done, the audit out on time? And they didn't respond, but in the past, that's been the cutoff. However, in order to get, if we don't get the audit in on time, either our fault or their fault, there's a potential of a $10,000 penalty. Nobody wants that. In order to avoid that, we need to do an extension. And unlike an IRS tax expense extension where you could do it at midnight on the due date, these extensions you have to have by November 30th. So if I was the auditor, I would say, we're doing an extension anyway, just in case.
So why don't we?
So that's what I said to
Why
Yeah,
them.
but,
don't we?
and
Why
apply.
kill yourself over Thanksgiving? Give yourself a breather,
Oh,
put
no.
in an extension.
No, it's the auditor.
Oh, okay.
Well, I'm also on a committee, and I think I have to have our audit in on time to stay on that committee.
Okay.
I know I can't
All
have
right,
comments.
all
so-
right, all right.
So
But
we're
we-
trying to
We will get the
it
extension,
done.
who wants
All
to?
right.
Yep.
But we,
To avoid it.
but it makes sense to have the extension
Correct.
just in case that,
Okay.
that is, any questions on any of that finance stuff?
No.
Okay.
you.
All right, thank you.
We skipped the Board of Ed topic. It's been now 4 months, we've got no update from the Board of Ed in this committee.
I missed the last meeting,
So
but I have.
I spoke to Vonda and Casey yesterday, we had a meeting, and I said I'd really like the Board of Ed to come back, start coming back to the Board of Selectmen and the Board of Education on a monthly basis, and just give us an update, and they agreed.
I
Once
don't
they
know
get
if
their
we
whole
need
new board
a monthly
appointed.
though, because we've extended it out to them now. They're on their own in a way. That's what we gave them, so.
Well,
I think it still needs to be, I think we need to keep that collaboration, so it's not a,
There are no surprises, no shocks.
yeah, I
You
mean,
know,
sometimes the
talking-
timing of it
talking-
doesn't work, but
talking
I
is
think,
good.
yeah, I
Talking
think
is
we
good.
should, they should,
Okay.
I mean, I'm
So-
not speaking.
Get
but
a new board and
see what happens.
Have you received their financial report?
I'm just looking at it right now.
Okay,
We-
yeah.
The board didn't,
we didn't.
no, I got it because of this.
So
I
right
asked for
now-
one recently, and I got it, and I have a lot of heartburn, so, a
With-
lot of heartburn, so I don't know if it's worth bringing it up right now. An extreme amount of heartburn,
So if we ask them
It's,
to come in.
it's all
next
good
month-
news. It's great news, okay? What they're doing is great. The costs are a thing. But we got $500,000 sitting in that contingency fund for special ed that we gave them. That's $500 in a bank right now. And that's what we were avoiding for so many years of having, that 500,000, if it was on the town side right now, would give us more flexibility. Instead, she's ring fenced it, she's doing all the right things, so I'm not saying anything bad about that. She's totally ring fenced it, she's corralled it, she's accounting for it, she's doing all the right things. She is 100% doing all the right things. However, there's $400,000 to $500,000 sitting there not being utilized. And will it be utilized or not utilized?
I mean,
I don't know.
we're a
But
quarter
that's
of the
what you
way.
want, right?
Yeah, we're only a
I-
quarter of the way into the school year, and this was kind of a let's see what happens this year, I thought was how we
Well,
left
yeah,
it, so.
I mean, I thought when we closed this, we made the best estimate of what the money would be. I don't think we
Yeah.
gave them contingency. We gave them the
Yeah.
best estimate at the time, and maybe things have come in better.
Things have changed,
Which
but
is
this
okay.
is the way it worked in the past.
No, but
We
I'm-
managed those changes for them.
Let me-
And what I'm saying is, right now, there is 0.5% of the taxpayer dollars sitting there right now for a what if on that side. And we got 0.5% on our side sitting saying, what if?
Right.
We got a full percentage of taxpayer dollars for what ifs right now.
Yeah, but,
What ifs?
so part of this whole thing is letting them manage their own. And if we're going to be, so just like.
So what are you gonna do next year? I hear you. What are you gonna do
No,
next
but we
year?
have to wait, we have to wait.
Okay, but
for
if they're
this-
$500,000 ahead of the scheme next year, what are you gonna do?
But then we have
No,
that,
but
that
exactly,
money gets
we
rolled
re-
in. We
re-
had the process in the
recalibrate.
past, when Colette Stern was the chair, we had that process of that money sat and they got to use it in that next school year. So it won't hit the taxpayers.
It's hitting them right now. It's sitting there. We have a full percent
We-
of our budget.
We have
in
excess revenue
contingency.
come in, right, and then we have, I think we have to consider this as the whole town, and then this subset, and the subset has to be able to kind of work on their,
So when I first came in,
yeah.
town department had a 10% contingency, this department
Not
had a
every
10.
department
Everybody
voted
had a 10% contingency, and we washed it out as a full percent on the budget. 1 full percent, and sometimes a vote between 4 and 5% gets voted down, and that's what I'm saying, conscientiously, we have a full percent now. So we could look at it two ways. We could say, all right, we'll give it to the Board of Ed and let them hold 500,000 on their side in a contingency, and we reduce the town side down to 100, and we gamble on the town side, and the town's ultimately responsible for everybody, not just the Board of Ed and everybody. Holding a full percentage in contingency is a lot of money. Most towns don't.
But right now, I mean, we're looking at, you look at the administrative salaries, you have $192,000 that is because of the leadership, the leadership, and they didn't know going into the budget year when they would be hiring somebody. So, I mean, part of that offset is definitely an anomaly, right? That's not,
They projected 31 outplacements, they got 26 or something. So there's a big
Which was
difference.
never, which is never guaranteed, we would never know for sure how
Agreed.
many.
And we told them,
Naheed, 100%.
Yeah.
However, we held that on our side, and we had a lower contingency. We held $400,000 in our contingency on our side, right? That covered everybody. We paid, if they went over in special ed, we agreed to pay that bill. Now we got the 400 on their side, and we're still carrying a lot on our side. I'm saying the numbers don't work if we can't get, the projections are hard to get.
But to be fair, I mean, they didn't wanna go into, like, they've been going into the school year in a negative. Like, they're starting off the school year every year in a negative, and that's
Okay.
what they were trying to get out of. And we agreed as a board, like, we will take the 95%, you know, that you think you're going to go, we will fund that. And so that was the agreement. So I don't have a problem,
Okay.
I mean, again, this is my last meeting.
No,
but
no, no.
I don't have a
It's
problem
all
with
this
it. I think
We
this
were
is
all-
what we were,
Yeah, yeah.
this is kind of what we were expecting, and part of
Yeah.
it is to see
I
what
don't have a
happens.
problem either.
We weren't
yeah.
expecting to have a difference between 31 and 26, I don't think. I
They
didn't
were,
expect
but they
that.
weren't either.
Okay,
Th-
But-
This was something that we all knew, there is no definite, there is
there is no definite,
So-
100%.
We're flowing with it.
So
and
let's
we'll
turn
see
it
how
this way,
Yeah.
turn it this way. We had these issues come up tonight, out of cycle, we talked about it. What if that out of cycle went over our contingency?
No, so
So
they,
now we go over our contingency, now what do? We can't go to Mr. Board of Ed and say, hey, we need $200,000 back, we gotta hit our general fund. All I'm saying is it took a tool out of our toolbox.
but if
It-
you, if you.
I understand what you're saying, but I think that it's maybe.
All right, it probably is. I'll
Take a
agree
little
with you,
too
I'll agree with you. But I,
I'm gonna say give it time, this is a whole new setup, and I also think that we have to trust, I think she's doing a great job. We have to, it's like me running my business, when I have people, you know, you have to trust and say, okay, you know what, you got it, you're doing fine, you know, and you gotta step back. We have to step back, we can't be parenting all the time.
agreed, but that's your money, that you're trusting, it's not the
Well, the towns,
taxpayers'
the
dollars.
taxpayers' money,
But
I
it
think
is
that-
her
I think
money.
the difference here is
It is
that-
portion, yes.
The
It is-
difference here
it
is
is.
that
I lose my argument, I'm gonna lose this, I agree.
the town is a third, the school's 2/3, round numbers.
Yes,
I think if the town elects us to be the Board of Finance to watch the town's finances, just delegating 2/3 of the spending with no interest, no oversight, no help. I'll just say call it help, because there's a lot more financial skills on this board than, you
No,
know, the
the
Board of
con-
Finance has. So I think we'd be delegating our responsibility if we don't.
perfect.
No, I think we should have conversations, I definitely think they should be coming,
Yeah,
and
I
we should
think
be
Perfect.
meeting.
there should be presence here.
I think they should
I-
be
At
here.
least every other
It's
month.
not
I
a great
definitely think that is
Like,
an important,
you
and the
know.
transparency,
But we haven't specifically asked for it, it's always
the
been on the
talk
agenda,
is always
yeah.
good. You know, hearing our opinions is
Yeah.
good.
I have
Just
no
to
idea
get
if
that
we
comfort
gave too
level
much to the kids, because I
for
haven't
the
seen
upcoming
anything
year,
before.
Right.
I don't know,
right?
you've seen
Yes.
So I've asked them to come back.
Yes, yes, I definitely think that should happen.
And
yes.
dealing with the unknowns, we try to do it one way, we try to do it another way, it's just kind of fishing around to see what will work best. And we might not be there yet.
We can change paths, it's not.
We've done this both ways, we've gone
Yeah.
back and
Yeah.
forth, we've had this discussion so many times. There's
Yeah.
no perfect way to do it, but we have this board and we have built a relationship with the Board of Ed, that they have been upfront, they have been honest.
No, they have,
They have.
no,
Which didn't used to be the
And-
case,
and
but it is
Financial
now.
controls are so much.
I can't argue that.
Yeah.
I can't,
It's a quandary, and you're right.
I can't argue Eileen's point, and yes, extreme, I get it, go ahead, Marcia.
So I don't think we should call it a contingency, that when we put it in the budget, we put it in, and we said, instead of knowing 100% that these students are gonna be there, bring it down to 90 or 95, whatever it was, that there were 3 that were not aging out because of the new rule. Put them in because you're 90% sure that they're gonna be there. So it was based on just a slightly less certainty. And if we have 26 instead of 31.
I don't know the numbers, so, I mean,
Whatever
I don't
number
want
is.
anybody
But
to
if we
think,
have
Still logic.
less, that's not a contingency, that's a
It's an
budget
underwrite.
variance.
Yeah, it's not-
And, and if she's saying she's ring fencing
she
that,
has,
then
100%.
we should be getting that budget variance back at the end of the year.
She has promised that, and I actually believe her promise, so I'm not
Yeah.
gonna say I
So
don't,
I
I
just
don't
don't think
disagree
a
with her promise.
contingency is the right
I
word.
mean,
Yeah.
all right, fair enough, I lose that one, but it's all good, I see the point.
Marcia's point is a very good
No, I
one,
mean, your numbers.
because
are
people
32,
will watch this and say,
26.
you just gave them 500,000 contingency, it's not exactly.
Yeah,
That's-
for sure.
Your assertion is more correct.
Yeah, it's a budget variance that hopefully we get back and we can
I
use
agree.
for our capital
Yeah.
stuff,
I agree, and I agree, have them back.
if it's still there.
But one other point to that, like, we've been hoping over time that maybe there would be fewer outplaced
Yes.
students. And this is
Eileen?
the direction that we're, it's the right direction.
Eileen,
Yeah.
you're right, you're absolutely right, I
So-
can't argue with logic. I
Yeah.
mean, logic is good, but it's just maybe, Yep, how about we move on?
Yep,
Go ahead,
come
next. Cheers.
Find good news in it.
Yeah.
Get some-
It is good news. There are financial controls, there are ring fences, everything that we have asked.
We just lost some communication, let's get that.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's get the
That- that- that-
communication.
I agree with
I
you.
agree.
All right.
Yeah.
So we went to Board of Ed, you talked about that. All right, we're now in old business, and this is becoming more and more important, this document that
Yes.
we've neglected.
We have a full board.
Yes, I think this is more important than ever right now, the way health is going, health insurance is going. I think we don't know where it's going or what the leadership of our country is taking it to and what they're doing. So what I would like to propose, if it's okay with everybody here, is, I know everybody's busy. Brian, how about you and I look at this and we go through this in before the next meeting, and we,
I think that's
High
good, I'll
level.
tell you, I'm not necessarily a fan of this. I think you might be, so maybe that's good that we do it together, because we can have that argument.
well, I don't, I think it's something, I'm a fan of it because I'm afraid of where health costs are going. So if you have a better idea on how to control that or level
I'm
it,
afraid too, I think, yeah, but this gives you the opportunity to, take loans out to cover those costs.
well, we can take out things. We can look at, I think we need to get a backbone, and if there's words we
And
don't like,
policies around it.
and then we can change out some words, but I think everybody's busy in life, but I think you and I'll have the most downtime. If that board doesn't mind, Naheed and Brianna, you'd be the two that are left. It's not excluding you, I just think,
No, I'm hurt.
yeah.
I just know that I got my company's cost came in, and normally we have 9% increases, and this year it was 14%. And that,
That's
you
why
know,
I
it's
think
a
we
couple
need to
$100
have
per,
a thought process, Brian. I agree, some of the
plan.
words, yeah.
that's a big deal.
Right.
It's a huge deal.
Right.
And they said, when I asked them why, they said it was, because of the continued COVID, weight loss drugs. And the providers are all renegotiating all of their contracts and wanna be paid more money. The doctors, the hospitals, everything. And they just said, so unfortunately, this is what it is, and I mean, there's nothing we can do. So my budget, that's gone. Any calculation I had for 2026 just had to get recalculated.
I just think it's more
Russian
important, whether we
I
change the
agree.
words a way we want to word it, Brian. I think we gotta go
Yeah.
through this and look at the numbers and then come back to Steve and
agree.
Marcia and say,
Yeah, I
here's,
think, I also think we have to put some fences around it. We do not want this to be a slush fund.
No,
No.
We want it to have
No.
specific.
absolutely. It's
Right.
a leveling tool.
Right, exactly.
It's a leveling tool. How do
Yeah.
we not fight big changes in this and level it out so it's like a simple change? Like, instead of going 12 and then 3 and then 8 or 9, we're gonna try to even it out, right?
Right.
And this gives us the ability, another tool.
Yeah.
It's gonna be ring fenced, and I think Marcia, that's what your idea was too, Marcia, right? Protect it and make sure it's used for what it's
Make sure
used
it's
for.
not too high, not too low.
Right,
Yeah.
just to keep it flat, so we don't have to go when you're 6% to the taxpayers, and then it's just better. And I think if Brian and I look at it offline, we have the most time, then we'll come back to the board.
And I would
this is
think at some
something-
point, when you're thinking about it, you say, okay, this fund will have no more than 10%.
Yeah, we gotta think about all that, yes.
10% increase in
Yeah.
it, so you could handle it every year. You don't want it growing and growing and growing and
No.
growing.
It's
Right.
like the police fund, we take that down
Right,
every once in a while, and you can
Right.
utilize, now Brian, you know, we
Exactly.
utilize it for town uses, and Brian wants to get away from it, I get it, but we let it creep up, we bring it down. So the same thing would
yeah,
be here.
yeah.
This
If we
is,
put those kinds
a
of ring
flat
fence
line.
around it, it could be very useful.
so, whether you're for this,
No, no, it's okay. Look, conceptually, you're wonderful on things conceptually. Pragmatically, it ain't gonna work that way. There's not
So-
gonna be any fun. If you're in an environment where healthcare costs are rising very rapidly,
okay, I'm listening.
that's when you would use the fund to level things out. Since we
Right.
don't have a fund, you
Yeah.
can't fund a fund and pay for those increases at the
Okay,
same time.
I agree. So how do you start? Give me a start point.
You start when you have a good year on healthcare expenses.
So this year's not a good year.
Right.
and
That's kind of my point. When
the
we
next year
talked about
probably
this 6
won't
months
be
ago, I
either.
said, this is a great idea, and you start it when you have a good year.
Yeah, I see your point.
And we just don't have
And
a
you know
good
what,
year.
I don't think next year's gonna be a
Right.
good year
The next
either.
year won't be a
You
good
can't
year.
It
fund
won't.
this until you
It
have
will not.
a good year. Unless you want to fund it by taking taxes up a bunch, which I don't think any of us are interested in doing.
Yeah,
Or having some other windfall that funds it. Like a big contingency.
yeah.
Board of Ed.
Well, okay.
Oh, I just admitted my faults, and you just do that?
Way to
Yeah,
slip
sorry,
that in
man.
there.
So, it's still, I think, a worthwhile exercise. Brian raises a really good point.
He
It's
does.
still a worthwhile exercise. But
Absolutely.
when that time
Have
comes,
this ready.
be ready.
I like
Bang,
that.
we're doing
Yeah.
it.
Have it ready, have the exercise done, have all the numbers played out, so
I mean,
you
if
know
we have
when it
an
reaches
11%
the threshold, you can go.
If we have an 11% increase next year, I can't see where we would put any money into this fund,
Ask, yeah.
right?
No, you're not gonna.
Right.
Without us, he said.
We're gonna be struggling with
We're gonna be
11%
struggling.
increase
And,
all the way around.
I'm sure state healthcare is better than like, company
It is
health, but I'm just
The
saying,
best
if mine
plan
went up
I've ever
from,
seen,
if mine went up,
even from 30 years ago,
6%,
it's still
I
better.
don't
I'll
feel
agree
good
with
about
the timing, Brian, but we
Yeah.
still gotta
We still
nail
gotta
down,
ready
we
to go.
gotta nail the skeleton
100% with
down.
you on that.
Okay,
Yeah.
and I think you and I have the most time, and I think it's more important now than ever.
You'll get an
Agreed.
Excel spreadsheet
So,
going, I feel.
All
Can I
right,
can I back up to the
Have it
finance
yet?
question?
go ahead.
I have an Excel
Back
spreadsheet.
up.
So on the education report, there was a $90,000 delivery rate, electricity.
I saw that.
Variance, but we don't have that. How come their number is so different from ours?
Well, they have 3 electricity accounts, so we have 60.
I thought we were at like,
And she analyzes.
oh, yeah, I get that.
She analyzes it a lot more than, a lot faster than we do, so
Okay.
I will take a look at ours, but,
Cause we're at like 24%, we're like right on,
You're at
24% of
yeah,
our
that,
electricity budget,
so I'll take a look at.
Okay, I just wanted to, yeah, sorry, I said that.
No, good call, good catch. All right, solar energy, what'd you have up on the screen, Marcia? That solar energy you had up on the
That
screen?
was internal
Blah.
service fund.
Oh,
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 La, la.
okay.
I thought we already talked about
Yeah,
it.
We did talk solar energy, I
Yeah,
know
we
she had a
did.
graphic up there, I was just trying to follow it, okay.
Much cuter pictures up
I
there.
A
have that.
quick question on this piece of paper, what is this paper I'm looking at before we go any
I think
further?
that went with the,
The increase to the state partnership
That
plan
went
is,
with the,
that went with the internal service
fund
fund.
stuff.
perfect, thank you, all right, we talked about that. All right, on the new business, did you have this up on the screen?
We don't need transfers because you approved them last Wednesday.
Perfect, that's gone. Any other items?
Can we skip the
Yes.
capital?
Oh, sorry.
No worries.
I thought
We've got the, I gotta make a little bit of a request. So, so the capital, the capital planning
Ad hoc,
committee, ad hoc
yeah.
capital planning committee. We've got everybody signed up from last, we didn't put the ordinance in place because the other ordinance wasn't going through as well, so, I haven't heard from John still yet, but other than that, everybody's back on
Oh,
the committee.
Can I join?
Um,
I thought you
It's
wanted
fine
to
with me, the
refer-
problem we're gonna have is if John doesn't join, we only have one Republican on it, so we might need,
No,
okay.
we're good.
I don't wanna upset anybody.
I don't care who you upset, if Naheed wants to be a part of it,
It's his
she can
decision, but
speak
I'd
for
love
us
that.
as well. We don't need that, not on this board, we don't need that.
Look, I'm fine, just I was
I'm fine
sensitive
with
that
that
others
And I
might
don't feel
not
like
be.
the capital. is
I
ever a
will speak
political
with
thing.
Carl if I need to on that, the thing, but
But I would like another member or two even, if you wanna do it, that's great.
Yes,
We'd love it.
yes,
We'd-
yes.
I'd love to have another because we're gonna have less, if John stays on, myself and you, that's 4 out of the 6 will be
Board of
the
Finance members.
people. So that's okay, it's almost like a subcommittee of this committee.
Well, you can't
Well,
afford.
I don't have
Oh,
to,
shoot.
I don't
Oh,
have
yeah.
to, I was just.
Cause then it's a
Well,
quorum.
John might not be
Yeah.
on, if John isn't on it, then we'd have 3.
Hey, but I don't have to if John, I'm just saying, but
Okay.
I'd rather
However you
do
wanna
this
manage
than.
it. I
We
think
can't have
Brian,
four-
If
Board
there
of
was another
Finance
person that would like to join, that's my
Right.
point.
however you wanna manage it. I mean, we have to figure out too, who's gonna be chair when that comes to the point. And that's, the chair, I don't think should be on any of those committees. I think the chair should be neutral in these type of discussions, so.
This is my only point, we're put a calendar in place that has the recommendation done by the end of January, like January 22nd or something, so if we don't find, if there's someone else who wants to do it or can do it, and we don't find them in the next month, it's already,
We'll ask.
it's already passed.
But I would not worry about,
Okay, good.
from our team, I mean, you might have to think about others,
Yeah,
but from
just,
our
if there was
team-
someone you knew who would be interested in doing it, it's
From our
good.
team, you don't have to worry
Great.
about it. I do like, speaking of that, I do think, Marcia, we need to do more of those citizens universities and publish it out, whatever you called it.
We're
The town
doing one
clerk's office.
Citizens
called-
Academy, we're doing one Thursday.
Yeah, but I think we should do one with Brian and the capital committee as well. I think if we could get people to go to these things, I think it would be
Sure.
big. And I think we should run another finance
Yeah.
one, because in speaking with the teams that I talked to on the Republican side in this, campaign, they don't understand a lot of this fully, and
Oh,
I
that's
think
clear on,
that,
yeah.
it would be nice for them to sit in on this, and
Yeah.
it would give us a rally call that maybe they'd understand, why we're doing things. And I think if, they're intelligent people, so I think if they see it, they'll understand it. So I think I'd like to see that. I'd like to see the capital committee have one of these nights as well. Maybe we can do it as we're projecting in a sign-up rate, so if only 4 sign up, we don't do it, but if we get 20, we do it, type
Yeah,
of thing.
Thursday, we have 2 people signed up.
That's what I said, I think we gotta.
It's right before Thanksgiving, it's a
Okay.
holiday.
Agreed.
I don't think we're gonna do one, I talked to the town clerk today, in December doesn't seem like a
No.
good idea to me.
I feel like it's a tough
Everybody's so busy.
Everybody's so
Start up
busy.
again in January.
But
You
when the
want-
budget season starts, maybe
Yeah.
capital, some people would like to hear what Brian and the capital committee are doing, and he can explain why we look at it, our process of looking at it, how we prioritize as best we can, how we're open to suggestions too, because if people come and talk to us, we're open. So I just think that would be something we should push.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
does capital
in the
committee-
past,
We're gonna have
in the prior life, we used to do seminars for newly elected officials.
Right.
A little different than what we did on that night, which was kind of explaining what the Finance Department does, and
Right.
they don't really care. But what would it, how would it affect them? What do we mean by these other funds? What do we mean? And so I can try and get an outline together for you.
I think that would be good for all of us. I think that we have people now willing to listen more than ever, and I think that's good for the town. So,
Yeah, I mean, when, last year at this time, when we got, I was the only one that stayed on the capital committee, right? So the first capital committee meeting, I did that with all the new members.
with them,
Right,
Right.
so I mean, I could dig it up somewhere, I probably have the structure to do that,
Correct.
and just have it with everybody, be happy to
Right.
do that, if there is interest.
and then on a final note, it's Mary and Eileen's last meeting. From the deepest of my heart, I can't thank you both enough for your support and my personal support of being there always for the town and being there for me and what you've done. And Eileen, your sponsorship of the schools and the real drive and passion for the schools is amazing. And Mary, your points when you bring them are solid. You don't go out there and speak, but when you speak,
We listen.
oh my
That's
God,
right.
your points are spot on, and the things that you've championed over the years that we might have overlooked in Parks and Rec and a few other things have been valuable to the town. And like I say, I personally can't thank either one of you enough for what you've done for this town, the time you've put in, the hours we spent on the phone together. I don't know what else to say, but thank you, and the town, you did the town a great service, so thank you.
I think we all second that.
Yes.
I mean, it's been such a great experience, a great board to work with, and I think, we've done a great job of setting an example of how boards function well together, and I think people have noticed, which is a huge piece for me, but I feel like we've done a lot of good for the town, and, I mean, you guys, I was worried, when you come off of it, like, what's it gonna be like, but it's fine. Nothing to worry about, you guys, you know how to keep the town rolling and do the good things for the town and listen to people and listen to each other, and I think that's some of the most important pieces we've gotten out of this board.
Yeah.
We've come a long way, this core
Come a long
group
way.
have come a long way. Marcia can attest to that, and Steve can attest, we've come a long way.
Oh,
In
absolutely.
8 years, how long, you've been on, how long now, 8?
8,
8
Yeah,
years, yeah.
so in 8 years, we've grown together, and we've come a long way, but I think we have measurable results.
yeah, absolutely.
And I think, and that's to you,
No, but
you're,
everybody, everybody
so,
contributes
thank you.
much.
Steve, you wanna add before we close?
I can't say it any more eloquently than you did, but I want to thank you both for the service you've given to the town. Clearly, in the last 8 years, we have gotten to the point where we're sitting here tonight and saying, okay, let's pull the trigger on this project because we've done this properly. There's funding there to do the project. We don't have to nickel and dime things. We don't have to value engineer things, and that will save the town money in the long term. And you guys are a critical part of that
Yes.
because it takes a lot of chutzpah to stand your ground and say, no, we are going to do this right. And you guys always stood for that, for the schools and for the town. And I'm going to miss you.
Yeah,
Yes, we'll miss you guys.
we are gonna miss you.
We might watch a few meetings.
So then,
Although in the same breath, when
Did
I was
I hear
on
we'll be
for-
back?
I
I hear we'll be
back.
Eileen might be back.
Yeah.
We discussed this already, but
I
she
can see
needs a
some-
little
Need
off,
some
but
time off, but I can see.
You're a
some-
couple
she may be
months.
first selectman one time,
Yeah.
so you never know.
Yeah,
No.
yeah.
So would you lead us in the adjournment?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.